On a Monday evening in July of 2009, the University of Akron's basketball gym was filled with current NBA players, upcoming high school and college stars, and the greatest basketball player in the world who just came off of his first MVP season. Something would happen on this night which resulted in LeBron's team and Nike reps to confiscate the very few angles of the footage that existed of this moment and hide it from the public to protect LeBron's reputation. So what happened? It's the summer of 2009. LeBron James just had his very first MVP season where he averaged 28, 7, and 7 and carried his below-average Cavaliers roster to the Eastern Conference Finals where they ultimately lost in 6 games to the Orlando Magic. Throughout the season, LeBron displayed his incredible skill set and IQ for the game. Who wouldn't want to learn and play against the best player in the world? Well, the opportunity was there. In his hometown of Akron, Ohio, LeBron held a basketball camp sponsored by Nike, including a showcase for young players from the high school and college level. Some of these players included Romeo Travis, LeBron's old high school teammate, recent draft pick Danny Green, Kansas big man Cole Aldrich, Virginia Tech guard Malcolm Delaney, others, and our subject for this video, Jordan Crawford. Jordan Crawford was 20 years old and headed into his sophomore season at Xavier, itching to make his mark after sitting out a transfer year. A 3-star recruit out of Hargrave Military Academy, he averaged nearly 10 points per game as a freshman at Indiana before transferring. After a season of no real competitive games, he finally got a chance to show out when he was invited to Nike's Darren Williams Skill Academy, drilling and scrimmaging alongside guys like Avery Bradley, Iman Shumpert, and Isaiah Thomas. He played well enough to earn a trip to what was the premier swoosh summer basketball event for high school and college players, the LeBron James Skills Academy in Akron, Ohio in July of 2009. At LeBron's camp, the scrimmages would take place during the evenings, with only a few dozen eyewitnesses allowed inside to watch. LeBron would handpick his team, while his opponents would be a rotating cast of college players from his camp. In the 1st to 7th game of the evening, LeBron and his team would face off against Jordan Crawford and his squad. Just a few minutes into the first run of the night, Crawford got the ball off an inbound play and drove hard around his defender and into the paint. LeBron was under the basket, and as the college kid exploded to the rack, the reigning NBA MVP tried to block his shot. And this happened. Crawford was hyped after his poster dunk on the game's greatest player. But afterwards, he mentioned that he didn't think it was a big deal until he got back to his room that night, and his phone was blowing up from people who weren't even there to witness it. If something like this were to happen today, it would be all over social media within minutes, and those who were in the gym would have captured the moment from 15 different angles on HD cameras. But in 2009, that wasn't the case. Twitter wasn't too popular and Instagram didn't even exist yet, which means that the only way the video would spread was through emails and text messages from the very few photographers and freelancers that were known to have taken footage of this moment. According to a few eyewitnesses, the following took place after the poster dunk on LeBron happened and the runs were over. It's reported that an embarrassed LeBron was allegedly seen asking Lynn Merritt, who was senior director of Nike basketball, to confiscate all tapes and proof of the dunk from all photographers who were present. 2 video recordings of the dunk were seized by Nike, and apparently the Nike reps that took the footage from videographers told them that it was because they violated the camp's policy by filming after hours. And I mean, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit. The word got out that LeBron got yammed on at his own camp, and various media outlets were foaming at the mouth in hopes of getting this footage. And just a couple weeks later, a good enough angle of the dunk from someone else's camera was released to the public through TMZ. From the way that LeBron and his team handled this situation, you would think that LeBron got baptized by Crawford and that if the footage got out, he would be clowned beyond belief. The initial reaction to the poster dunk from the public was that it wasn't all that embarrassing for LeBron. It was a 2-handed dunk in which Jordan Crawford only made contact with the side of LeBron's body. It wasn't some sort of Blake Griffin monster jam. It was just a regular basketball play that happens when a player actually wants to play defense. Nothing that LeBron should be embarrassed about. And this brings in a question. Why did Nike want to hide this footage from the public? It's been said that it was in an effort to protect LeBron's reputation, but it seems like it's more of an embarrassment problem than it is a reputation one. It's as if LeBron didn't want anybody to know that he was dunked on by a low-ranked college player at his own camp. The occasional embarrassing moment on the court can't ruin Nike or LeBron's reputation, but the overreaction to this moment can. LeBron has spoken out about this moment and seems like he isn't embarrassed at all. He praises how good of a player Jordan Crawford is, which makes the attempt to hide this footage much more confusing.
Well, it's a play that happens in the game of basketball a lot. You know, and if you like to call yourself a shot blocker like I call myself every now and then, that may happen. And, you know, Jordan is a really good player. Looking forward to seeing him play this year and all the college guys that was there at my camp. If you do my ratio from me getting dunked on and me dunking on people, I think I think you can times mine by like 50.
And not to compare, but if this were to happen to Michael Jordan, he would have made sure to torch the kid for the next 2 hours while showing him every move he had. He wouldn't have tried to destroy the footage. He would have taken it on the chin and destroyed the kid and make him feel sorry for even thinking of that dunk ever again. This situation got me wondering, what other moments that Nike has attempted to cover up and succeeded in doing so for athletes under their brand? Are there stories out there that have been suppressed by Nike in order to continue profiting off the most popular athletes in the world that reside under their checkmark? What other possible career-ruining moments have been hidden from the public? It'd be an interesting theory to go through, but for now, I'll leave it at the bottom of the iceberg. Anyways, you may be wondering what Jordan Crawford is up to now. Today, Crawford is just a dude making a living playing basketball and laying the groundwork for a future after the game. Since being drafted by the Nets in 2010, he's had stints with the Hawks, Wizards, Celtics, Warriors, and Pelicans, averaging a respectable 12 points per game in 281 NBA games. He's also spent time in the G League, Israel, and China. You can argue that his fame peaked that night in Akron, but that misses the point of a decade of getting paid to hoop, and a run with plenty of highlights, like averaging nearly 15 points per game for the Wizards in the 2011-12 season, shooting a crispy 40% from the field, and a 72-point game in China in 2016. At 34 years old, he's doing his best LeBron impression. He's still hooping as recently as this year in a professional league in Turkey. And of course, we know what LeBron has been up to for the last 14 years. For the final cherry on top to this fascinating story, Nike reps at the LeBron camp in 2009 were joking to players about a $500 bounty for anyone who can manage to dunk on LeBron. But in one of his most recent interviews, Jordan Crawford mentions that they never gave him his $500. If anybody from Nike is somehow watching this, stand on what you said and give this man his $500.